Howdy-ho, Andrew here. Welcome to the Onion Buns and welcome to my Game 6 recap. Oilers versus Detroit Red Wings, October 19th. So I wrote pregame, and the first line I wrote was, "And the bullshit continues." And then I'm looking at what I wrote, and before I get to any of that, I want to remind you of what I said yesterday, 24 hours ago. Yeah, I mean, look at it. It's like, they are sitting who was our best player in the second game who scored so that they can play a bunch of people that don't score and really make no effect at all on the game. Now they've been in 4 to 5 games and nothing. So, yeah. And what bothers me the most about this is even if we were to bring back Philip next game, say, which there may be a chance that's going to happen after the way this game was played, but even if they bring back Philip next game, he's been sitting out for 3 games. There's been no practices. He's going to be rusty. He's going to be cold. So it's like he's starting all over again. What a waste. He had so much momentum after that second game, and they've killed it. So even if he does play the next game, I don't expect him to be at the level he was at the second game because they've killed the momentum. Also, they could play players that had no impact whatsoever on the game. Drives me absolutely insane. So let this be a lesson to bottom 6 players. If you score and you get picked as one of the top stars in a game, you're going to get put in the press box because bottom 6 players are not supposed to show up the top 6 players or the gifted rookies. That's not supposed to happen. But if you don't score and you're invisible for 3 or 4 games, you're gifted a top 6 spot, you're gifted a spot on the PK, and you're not even mentioned to go to the press box. Somebody, please come in the comments. Make this make sense for me because I don't understand it. I really don't understand it. All right, at last, Lazar is finally getting a chance. I'm not sure it'll matter. If he's rusty from riding the press box, he'll get punished. But if he scores and is one of our best players, well, good chance he's going to get the Philip treatment and put in the press box. Because again, your bottom 6 players are not supposed to be your best players. So rather than demand our top 6 players do better, we punish the bottom 6 players for doing better. Yeah, can you tell how frustrated I am about this? All right, that was 24 hours ago, and we got the lineup in the pregame. Howard is in, Lazar is out. Boy, did I call that one. You score a goal and you're one of the 3 stars, you're in the press box. You do nothing in all of your appearances. Absolutely nothing. And you magically get pulled in from the press box to play again. It's ridiculous. Are you freaking kidding me? I called it though yesterday. Bottom 6 players that score a goal and are stars of the game get punished. Happened to Philip. Now it's happened to Lazar. I really hope Philip didn't make himself a target after this game for it to happen again. But Howard, who doesn't even look like an NHLer, is gifted a roster spot in the lineup. And now we hear Savoy will be gifted not only a top 6 spot, but first unit power play spot. He hasn't gotten a point and hasn't even been in the mix. He's really been mostly invisible for 90% of the time he's playing, but rewarded with, well, everything. It's so frickin' idiotic. On the good news, Philip finally draws back in. For the sake of his career, I sure hope he doesn't score or really be noticeable in any way, or he will be in the press box again the next game. Tomasek is the other person put in the press box. Now, I'm kind of iffy on Tomasek. I like him on the power play. He's a net front presence, and okay, he's not scoring, but he's a net front presence. I watched the power play today. I'm going to jump ahead just because it's topical right now. I watched the power play today, and we had absolutely no net front presence today. None. Nil. Nada. And I think that, we didn't have a lot of power plays, so that hurt, but the one power play that we did have, It was a perimeter power play because we had zero net front presence. It was easy for Gibson to see every shot. Lazar and Tomasek should not be in the press box. Howard and Savoy should be. Lazar and Phillip are officially this season's Jeff Skinner. Now, if you haven't watched, I've said this before, if you haven't watched, Knobloch did not like Jeff Skinner. That much is clear. Even Arvidsson has come out and said, I was terrible in Edmonton. I would have benched me. I had no chemistry with anyone in their game. And yet, Knobloch would not pull Arvidsson out of the lineup, and he would not put Jeff Skinner in the lineup. Even when we're begging for goals, he would not put Jeff Skinner in the lineup. And yeah, so I think it's safe to say Lazar and Phillip are this year's Jeff Skinner. It really doesn't matter what they do on the ice. Knobloch's going to put him in the press box. And that sucks. Let me be crystal clear about that. That sucks donkey balls. Team Canada officials are at the game, so if Bouchard's going to have his first good game of the season, it's probably going to be this game. Clearly, he doesn't care about the Oilers product, so maybe he will care about playing for Team Canada. You got to think he's now a bubble player for that team with the way he's played in the first 5 games. And very close to being removed outright from the consideration with how he's played. So, yeah, if he's going to have his best game of the season, it's probably going to be this game. And let me say right up front, if that happens, that sucks because he should be out there giving us the best he's got every single bloody night. It shouldn't matter if Team Canada officials are there. He's paid by the Edmonton Oilers. All right, so let's get to period 1. Skinner's in net for the Oilers. Gibson's in net for Detroit. Beauty passing play by Detroit, exposing Bouchard, who was puck watching. It wasn't his worst mistake over the last 6 games, but he was puck watching. And they just passed it through him. Skinner makes a great save right off the bat. Just beautiful. So, Stu Skinner was really dialed in the first period, especially. Nurse just did a nice rush for scoring chance. This was about halfway through the period already. And there wasn't a lot going on. There was more effort this game. There was than the last game. But it would be hard to not have more effort than the last game. But there still wasn't a lot going on. And so Nurse did this rush at about the halfway mark, give or take 30 seconds either way. For the third shot on net, I'm going to jump ahead. That was our final shot on net in the first period. We had 3 shots on net at the end of the first period. Here we go again. Knobloch came out, said he wanted a 60-minute effort. He didn't get a 60-minute effort. He didn't even get a 40-minute effort. As I just said, it was a much better start to this game. It wasn't a boring start. Like the last game was just so dull. I was zoning out in the first period of the last game. This game had more effort in it. It didn't have more results, and it's still being called a low impact period, or a low event period, but it was better than the last game. But, when the bar's that low, it's hard not to be better. I guess I'm going to put it that way. Phillip and Fredericks are looking crazy strong on the boards together. Like there's a lot of power between the two of them, and they were dominating the play. It was one of the bright spots of the first period is Phillip and Fredericks together. They had Kapanen, and Kapanen wasn't hurting them, but it was Fredericks and it was Phillip that were really, really noticeable on the forecheck. McDavid just needs to start shooting more. He did it again. He came down the slot. He had a wide open chance and he passed it off and the play got broken up to Mangiapane. Mangiapane and McDavid have zero chemistry together. And again, I said this last game. I'm going to say it again. That's not a slight at Mangiapane. Sometimes skilled players do not click. And Mangiapane and McDavid don't click at all. There is absolutely no chemistry there, and I don't understand why Knobloch is still trying to go back to that. Like I said, McDavid just passed off again when he should have shot. And that's frustrating, as at the start of the season, he said, I'm going to shoot more. Well, he hasn't been thus far in 6 games. Frederick, Phillip, and Kapanen have looked good and strong early on. They did. The third line was our best line in the first period, bar none. Nobody else even came close. A nice save by Skinner. Skinner had made 7 solid saves at the 15-minute mark of the first period. So he was right on par to get around 10 shots on net, which is, if you let in 1 goal every 10 shots, you're a 900 goalie. So he was doing really well in the first period. That was the end of the first. 5 minutes later, that was the end of the first. Shots on net in the first period were 3 shots for the Oilers, 7 shots for the Wings. So neither team got a shot in the final 5 minutes of the game. How does that happen? Or final 5 minutes of the period. Sorry, not game. The best line was Philip, Fredericks, Kapanen. McDavid and Mange have 0 chemistry. Everyone else was pretty much invisible, just non-existent. Second period, Savoy has moved up to third line. He was on the fourth line. He's moved up to the third line, replacing Fredericks, because Lord forbid we have a third line outplaying everybody. No, we got to switch that up. I guess Philip and Fredericks were too strong on the forecheck for Knobloch. Had to weaken the third line. First shift, Philip, Kapanen, and Savoy completely hemmed in their own zone. At the very end of the shift, Savoy managed to collect the puck and fire it down the ice. But otherwise, they were completely hemmed in. It was night and day from the first period with Frederick, Philip, and Kapanen, who were hemming the Wings in their zone. It was completely night and day. Just the removal of one player just destroyed the chemistry. Nice pinch by Emerson. Nice defensive play by Kulak right after it. And Kapanen got hurt on this play somehow. I missed it, but they just announced. Oh, sorry, I jumped ahead there. That first shift, Kapanen got hurt, and he's heading to the locker room. Don't know what the injury is. Howard finally started shooting, but they all been top of the key to blue line, so not great scoring places. Like, he's shooting from really far out. He's not getting into the slot. He's not getting into even to the dots. Ovechkin was famous around the dots. No, Howard is shooting from above the key and at the blue line. So these are very low percentage shots. It's great that he's finally starting to shoot, but these are still very low percentage shots. And nice pinch by Emerson. Got a nice shot on net. And then the puck got returned to the other end, and it was a nice defensive play by Kulak. And then it's announced that Kapanen will be out for the rest of the game. So I don't know if this is long-term injury or just for this game or what. They never did say on the TV. So yeah, so knock on wood that it's only for the game, but yeah, he's out for the game. So now Knobloch is starting the line blender. A nice face-off win by Detroit to D to slot. One-timer for the goal, 11:09. Just bing, bing, bing. Beauty goal. I know it's Detroit, but it was a beautiful goal, and Skinner really had no chance on it. It was instantaneous. It was 2 really fast passes and a one-timer. Boom, into the net. And unlike Howard, this guy was standing at the top of the slot. Just boom. Exactly where Howard should be. Howard should be at the top of the slot or the dots. He shouldn't be up by the blue line. He shouldn't be above the key. They were talking on the TV, oh, well, this is where he scored in college or university. That's university. It's not the NHL. There's a reason defensemen don't score 50 goals. It's because they're shooting from the blue line. Even with a 88, 90 mile an hour slap shot, they're shooting from the blue line. And he doesn't have an 88, 90 mile an hour shot. He's doing wrist shots. So it's 1-0 Detroit. Roslovich draws a tripping call at 10:28. Oiler power play. I said this last game, I'll say it again. Very perimeter. This was with Savoy. We had absolutely no net front presence on this power play. None whatsoever. Everybody was around the perimeter, and they just passed around the perimeter. Bouchard is shooting on the power play finally, so that was a bonus. All of his shots were like this far off the ice, so that sucks, but at least he's shooting now. Let's take small victories where we can get them. You can tell he's trying to impress the Team Canada officials. Where was this in the first 5 games? Oiler power play doesn't score because they had no net front presence. They didn't even get close to scoring. Very perimeter power play. Bouchard shot, I think he shot twice, but they were loaded the ice shots. And I've gone over this a million times that beating the modern day goalie is next to impossible with loaded the ice shots. It's not impossible, but it's very unlikely. And if we had a net front presence, you could argue, oh, well, Bouchard was going for the redirect. We had no net front presence with Savoy out there. He's too small for it. Everyone was standing away. Like, the Detroit defensemen had absolutely nothing to do because they had no players to compete with in front of their own net. Gibson saw every shot, clear as day. Then Detroit scores at 8:06, shot from the point. Nurse and Ekholm fail to clear the slot, exactly what I was just talking about. You had two Detroit guys in the slot, and it was an easy rebound tap-in. Skinner got the first save, but there was a rebound, and there was two guys standing there, and just boom, into the net. Easy rebound, because, I like Nurse and I like Ekholm, but they both were at fault to this one. They did not clear the slot. They just let them take position in there and stand there. 2-0 Detroit. Oiler goal at 7:05. Noah Phillip from Podkolzin and Kulak. Podkolzin does a shot from the blue line. Phillip redirects it. Beautiful goal. It was about 3/4 of the way up. Phillip tapped it down, bounced right down, and went 5-hole on Gibson. Gorgeous goal. And these are the type of ice shots that can score because the goalie's waiting, looking at the puck coming high, and then suddenly it's low. Those score. And Phillip was able to do this because of, repeat after me, folks, net front presence. I guess this means Phillip's going to be in the press box next game. That's how it works. You score. When you're a bottom six player, you score. You get put in the press box the next game. That's how it works, isn't it? Like, every team does this, right? No team rewards their bottom six for scoring. They put them in the press box. 2-1 Detroit. I'm only being 50% sarcastic with that comment, by the way. The Oiler fan in me really hopes Phillip's not in the press box, but we've seen it twice now in 6 games. You score in the bottom 6, you go in the press box for the next game. Happened to Phillip, happened to Lazar. I can't really rule out it's not going to happen to Phillip again. Detroit just ran Skinner at 6 minutes remaining in the second period. Big collision, but appears Skinner okay. How's that not a penalty? Like, he just bulldozed right into Skinner and put him into the back of the net. There was no effort at all to not make contact. Phillip and Podkolzin and Kulak really controlling the play. Savoy comes off the bench for it was a nice shot, but again, it was from the top of the key, so it's a very low percentage shot, but it was a nice shot by him, but he had nothing to do with the controlling. The controlling was done mainly by Phillip, Podkolzin, and Kulak, but Roslovic was out there for all of this shift, except he went to the bench and Savoy came on, got to the blue line, puck came to him and he shot. That's really about all he did. So, the announcers were going, oh, what a beautiful shot by Savoy, and, the Oilers really... He took a shot. He's not involved in the play of keeping that puck and setting it up. He just took the shot. I'll give him props for taking the shot, even though it was a low percentage shot, again. But, yeah, I'm not going to give him props for setting up this play because he wasn't even on the ice for it. Then Detroit scores at 2:55. Ekholm screens Skinner completely. Ekholm did not have a good game tonight. Just absolutely not. He was really, really out of his nature, but he was not having a good game tonight. And I can't even say it was because he was busy covering for Bouchard this time. He just was not strong out there tonight. Bad goal. But this is why I keep saying clear the slot so your goalie can see the puck. Skinner absolutely never saw this shot. He never saw the puck until it was already in the net. Like, he had Ekholm in front of him. He had a Detroit player in front of him. The puck came from the blue line. It wasn't a hard shot, but you got these two monsters in front of you. You can't see. And it was very clear by Skinner's reaction. He had no clue where the puck was. He couldn't see a damn thing. 3-1 for Detroit. End of the second. Shots on goal, 10-17 for Detroit. So Detroit again carried Oilers got 7 shots this time, but the Wings got 10, so they carried most of the offense in the second. Third period, Mangiapane is now with RNH and Roslovic. Thank God. Like, again, I don't dislike Mangiapane. I see real worth in Mangiapane, but him and McDavid, they're like oil and water, I should say. They have no chemistry together. at all. It is my belief that to play with McDavid on that line, like you can have RNH there because he's got chemistry with McDavid, but that third person has to have physical attributes to him, be it Hyman, be it Fredericks, or be it Podkolzin. You can't have McDavid and two other skilled guys. It doesn't work. And top line is now McDavid, Leon with Podkolzin. Oilers goal at 12:22 of the third period. Leon from Kulak and Ekholm. Nice tic-tac-toe play. This was the only play today that I can give Ekholm credit on. He really did not look like himself today. But this was a gorgeous goal. It was a beautiful tic-tac-toe play in the net. Boom. 3-2 Wings. This, ironically, was the first 5-on-5 goal this season for Leon and McDavid, because they were both on the ice for this. Leon scored it, but McDavid was on the ice for it. This is the first time a 5-on-5 goal has been scored while they were on the ice in 6 games. That's not acceptable. You know, everybody can point at the bottom 6 as much as they want. I'm as big a Leon and McDavid fan as anyone out there. Like, I consider Connor McDavid the best player in the league, and I consider Leon to be the second best player in the league. And they have not looked like it in the first 6 games. Just God honest truth on that. Leon McDavid and Podkolzin definitely have more chemistry than when Mangiapane or Savoy were on the line with McDavid. It's night and day. It's, you know, if Knoblauch ever puts Mangiapane or Savoy back on that top line, he should be fired on the spot because they don't work there. Roslovic steals puck in Detroit zone but doesn't shoot. I don't get it. Like, he got it in the slot. He was actually in the slot and he tried to pass off. And this is something we've noticed over a number of years now with these talented goal scorers coming in and trying to be playmakers. And I almost wonder, I don't want to blame it on McDavid, I really don't, but I almost wonder if they're so in awe of McDavid, they try to emulate him rather than doing what brought them to the dance. Roslovic is a 20-goal scorer. Shoot the damn puck. Bouchard turns over puck in front of our net from behind net. 6 games in a row he's done that. Luckily, Wings failed to capitalize, but he was behind the net, and I'll give him one bit of credit, because the last game I said it would be different if he was shooting hard. He passed it harder this time. It wasn't just a little slow dribbler to the front of our net, but it was still, he was behind the net, and he went right in front of, and it almost got redirected in because there was a wing. He was trying to pass through a wing player, and it almost got redirected in, and it didn't, thank God, but, you know, what is this guy thinking? Come on already. I hope the Team Canada officials were watching that play, because that's 6 games in a row he's done this, and it's ended up into our net a couple of times because of it. Nice save by Skinner on an 89-mile-an-hour slap shot. It was a solid save. I mean, the announcers always ooh and ah over Bouchard shooting 87 or 88 miles an hour, so I guess we should be oohing and ahhing that Skinner made a save on an 89-mile-an-hour slap shot. McDavid, Leon, and Podkolzin really controlling the play in the third. It was night and day. Once Mangiapane and Savoy were off their line, they really started to control the play. Big block by Nurse. Definite grade A scoring chance that Nurse just blocked and sent off in the corner. He really doesn't get enough credit for his blocks. Phillip and Nurse almost tie it up. They did a nice little passing play together, rushing down the ice, and it was a gorgeous little chance. It didn't go in, unfortunately, but you know, you got to give the effort applause. Then really uncharacteristic, Leon gets the puck on a breakaway in the slot, and he flubs the puck and doesn't even get a shot on net. How often have you ever seen Leon do that? I'm not going to rant about it because it was unlucky and it was very uncharacteristic for Leon, but that's the way his game was going. And then Detroit scores an empty net goal with 1:22 left. 4-2 for Detroit. Detroit wins 4-2. Shots on net at the end of the game were 18-27 for Detroit. So the Oilers got 7 shots this period, and Detroit got another 10 shots this period. You know, so Detroit outplayed us all 3 periods. I know the announcers are trying to sell it that Edmonton won the third. They didn't. They had some gorgeous chances, and once they got Mangiapane and Savoy off of the top line, there was a lot more chances for McDavid and Leon. And Philip was he was a wrecking ball all night. Like he played excellent all night. Knobloch had the line blender again going, but I just do not feel he has the correct personnel. And I covered this at the start. Lazar should not have been in the press box. Lazar should have been on the ice. Okay, you could convince me that Tomasek maybe had to sit down, but when I look at our power play, not having Tomasek hurt us big time. But they could have always put Frederick or Podkolzin on the power play in place of Tomasek. So, yeah, okay, maybe Tomasek hasn't been all that productive on the 5-on-5. So, okay, maybe he deserved to be up in the press box. Lazar did not. Lazar should have been playing. So, until Knobloch's going to put the proper personnel that have earned their way to be playing on the ice, I don't think his line blendering is going to work, because I think part of the problem is Savoy and Howard are just not ready for the NHL. 6 games now. No points, nothing. Hopefully Kapanen, okay, but if he is injured, that should get Lazar to draw back in, but it shouldn't take an injury to get Lazar and Philp to play at the same time. It really shouldn't. They both should have been playing tonight. Leon McDavid and Podkolzin definitely had more jump than Mangiapane or Savoy with them. Bouchard has finally started shooting at the net more, but again, it shouldn't take Team Canada officials to be in the stands for him to finally get engaged offensively. Like, he should have been doing this from game 1, So I actually find it kind of insulting that he wouldn't do this until the Team Canada officials were in the stands to watch him. Like, get your priorities straight, kid. Most of his shots were 1 foot off the ice to ice level. So, I mean, even though he shoots hard, these are very low percentage shots unless we have a redirect. But we had no net front presence for most of the time, so there's going to be no redirect. Savoy and Howard were actually more engaged, but they're mostly opting to shoot from low percentage shots. So it's great they're more engaged now, but they got to work harder. They got to get into the proper scoring positions. This is not university. You're not going to score with a wrist shot from the top of the key. It's just not going to happen, and Savoy is just, I said it last game. The more I watch Savoy, the more I'm reminded of Yamamoto. He's just a very soft perimeter player. Does he have skill? Yes, he has skill. He has some hands, but he's not willing to get into the dirty spots to capitalize. He's too small. He's too soft. I said it last game, if I have a bias against small players, and I do, I have no problem admitting that. But if you're going to put a small player on a team, I want that small player playing like Theo Fleury or scoring like Patrick Kane. Savoy's not doing either of that. So Yamamoto. Is Yamamoto even in the NHL anymore? I don't think he is. Philip is such a stud out there tonight again, which surprised me. I thought he would be cold. As I showed you in my clip at the start, I thought he'd be cold after sitting for 3 games, but he was our best player, bar none. So that's 2 games out of 3 he's played where he's been the best player, and he's scored 2 goals. I really hope he's not back in the press box come Tuesday. And I was listening to Bob Stauffer. I had to rewatch the game after it. I recorded and watched it afterwards because on Sundays I go visit my mother in her seniors residence every week. And I was driving home and I was listening to the Ched post game, and Stauffer would not commit that Philip would not be in the press box next game. He said he doesn't think he will be, but that's all the limb he would go on. He's like, I don't think he will be, but so even Stauffer's not willing to bet that they're not going to put Philip in the press box after this dominant showing. And if they put him in the press box, I think, well, I don't want to say there should be a riot, but there should be some sort of fan backlash at the Oilers if they put Philip and Lazar in the press box for the next game, because this is really getting to be ridiculous. My 3 stars for tonight. Noah Phillip, obviously. Leon Draisaitl, he got the 2nd goal, and in the 3rd period, when he was with McDavid and Podkolzin, not Mangiapane or Savoy, he was actually really dominant except for that one flub. And I'm going to probably get some pushback on this one, because he let in 3 goals on 25 shots, but I'm giving the third star to Stuart Skinner. If not for Stuart Skinner, this game's over in the first period, and it's a lot more goals than just the three he let in. Like, he made some amazing 5-bell saves, and he kept the team in until late in the third. You know, really, the team was in it right up to the empty net goal, which Skinner has nothing to do with, obviously. You know, it's not his fault the team's not scoring. He did everything he could do, and the 3 goals, you know, I don't blame him on them. Again, it's like I said, it's the first goal was Nurse and Ekholm absolutely did not do their jobs, and Skinner made the save, but he couldn't make the rebound save because Ekholm and Nurse had not moved their people out of the slot. You know, as long as you let the opponent stand in the slot, there's a chance for a rebound, and you can't blame the goalie for that. The defense have to move the players out of the slot. It's actually not illegal to move them out of the slot. So, you know, I blame that on Nurse and Ekholm as much as I like Nurse and Ekholm. The second goal was just a beautiful pass, one shot, one-timer in. Any goalie in the league's letting that shot in. It was a gorgeous goal. And then the third goal, Ekholm and a Detroit player absolutely screened Skinner. He had no chance in hell. If you rewatch it, he doesn't even make a play for the puck because he didn't know there was a puck. He was that blinded by his own player. So I don't know how you blame that on him either. So I don't blame him on any of the 3 goals. Therefore, he did what he was supposed to do. You know, sure, it was 3 goals on 25 shots. Normally, I don't give a star for a sub 900 save percentage, but really only 1 goal should have gone in. And then his save percentage would have been something like 960. So, you know, yeah, I'm giving him the third star. Also, the other reason is nobody really else on the team really jumped out at me. Like, this wasn't a great game by the Oilers by any stretch. The 3 slugs for tonight. Well, obviously Bouchard, but I'm going to qualify this because I did give him some compliments in this video. He was more engaged, and that's a positive. And that's how he's got to be every game going forward. But he's still turning the puck over in front of our net. It's still either a goal against us or almost like a AAA scoring chance for the opponent because he's putting the puck right in front of our net. And that has to stop. As long as he keeps doing that play, I'm going to keep giving him a slug of the night because you learn in the lowest levels of minor hockey to not do that. He's not in the lowest levels of minor hockey, so don't do that. The second one, obviously, is Ekholm. He was directly responsible for 2 goals against. And that was the difference in the game. You take away those 2 goals, the empty net doesn't happen. We probably win 2-1. You know? So this is really the Calgary game all over again is what this was. And then the third one, you know, nobody stood out to me. Nobody really stunk it out to me. So I'm giving it to Henrique because I'm not sure if it was limited ice time or what, but he was invisible to me for most of the night. There was a couple of times he passed to Howard for a low percentage shot, but other than that, I really didn't notice Henrique out there. And, you know, if you're a veteran, you got to get noticed. So just because I'm doing 3, I'm going to give it to Henrique. Maybe it's not quite deserved that he should be a slug on the list, but yeah, he's got to be more involved. And next game is Tuesday, 5 p.m. Mountain, 7 p.m. Eastern, October 21st on Sportsnet. And that's my Oilers Wing recap. And if you like the video, leave a like, a subscribe, and a share. I'm trying to grow my channel, and a like, a subscribe, and a share does me wonders, and I do appreciate it. It takes 1 second to subscribe, costs you absolutely nothing, helps me immensely. Just hit the subscribe button on the bottom of the screen. Always feel free to leave a comment. I encourage everybody to leave a comment. Not only does it get us interacting, but it really does help me with the YouTube algorithm and getting more eyes on my videos. And I just had a comment actually on one of my videos, and what I told the person that commented is, if there is something about the games that you want me to focus in on or talk about, something that interests you that you would like me to be covering, leave a comment and tell me. And I can't promise I'll do it every game, but I'll make a note of it to try to pay attention for it. That's the best I can do on that. But yeah, so please leave a comment. And not only does leaving a comment get us interacting, but it really does help me with the YouTube algorithm and getting more eyes on my videos. And as always, pew, 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 and shit. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Bye.